My name's Jody Malam. I'm the creative director for MTV in the UK. I am going to talk about how I ended up at MTV because it wasn't necessarily, it's not the most obvious of paths, but I'm here. And I'm going to talk about what MTV is up to currently and where we're heading as a brand. Very kind, very kind, very kind. Hi, my name's Jody. I'm the creative director for MTV. What does that mean? I guess I'm in charge of everything that comes out of MTV that you might see, whether it's from a creative perspective, whether it's event branding, been involved in some stuff for example, the EMAs and sort of projection mapping and that type of thing, or just campaigns that you may see around the place for much loved shows like Geordie Shore and the likes of. So to figure out how I ended up at MTV, we start with the past. And 1999 to be specific, and there I am in the middle of that, pre-beard, rocking a ponytail, so not many people can pull that off, and I'm not one of them, it turns out. So this is at the launch of Sky Digital, 99, and this was a big party they had. They were very excited. It was at Battersea Power Station, and basically, they were doing a live OB for that event, and they didn't want, basically none of the staff wanted to work on it because they wanted to get drunk. And so they hired in people like me. At the time, I was a student, and I'd done a bit of work experience running at Sky. And they said, oh, can you work on this thing? I was like, yeah, right, great. And sort of turned up, came down from university, and I ended up being the floor manager for Duran Duran that night. And I think it was about that point, I sort of thought, TV's weird. You just end up doing stuff, like... I was like just on talkback, just going, yeah, now they're coming on, and yeah. So, so about that time, I thought, yeah, this is going to be good. I could do something in TV. So I ended up working at Sky, but not in the creative team. I worked for Sky Sports on potentially the greatest sport of all time, which is darts. Here are two of they're legendary dart players. I don't know if you're familiar with darts, but Phil Taylor here and Andy Fordham over there. But this was actually, although it might not seem an obvious leap to MTV, was actually a really great experience because unlike where, if you were working on the football, you'd turn up and you'd be there for it's a 90-minute game and you're there for a few hours. In this environment, you'd turn up sometimes like Las Vegas. We got to go to Las Vegas a few times. Darts in Vegas, awesome. I did 9-ball pool in Vegas as well. Blackpool as well, some other less good places. Snooker in Telford, not so great. But you'd turn up and you'd be there for 10 days, locked in a truck. And they'd say, right, we're on air 12 hours a day. We need an insert at this time. We need an insert at this time. And so, in effect, I just sat in an edit suite for about 5 years. And then I sort of just writing stuff. And the good thing about darts players is pretty much they'll do anything you want. They're drunk. So, it was almost like a mini little film school, in effect. I didn't really love live TV because a lot of people shouted at you and there was a lot of shouting going on. But in my little area where we were just editing and stuff, it was fine. And and I thought, I think I'm better at doing this bit, which is kind of like making little inserts and promo openers for shows and et cetera, et cetera. So I got in touch with some of my friends at Sky and I've dug out something that I made from back then. So although you said, thought, I'm going to see MTV, I'm now playing you dart stuff. You're thinking, I want my money back. So this is the only pay-per-view darts match, to my knowledge, that ever occurred. It happened on Sky. You had to pay, I think, £15 for this privilege. And this is the opener. And in essence, all I've done here, and the sound goes a bit wrong at the end, so forgive that, but is just basically made, in my mind, a joke that they're sort of fat.
Tonight.
This is one of the biggest games of my whole career.
Two giants of the game.
They're one of the biggest games ever.
This is the game that everybody wants to watch.
In a showdown.
The crowd are going to be electric. They're going to love it.
for £100,000.
This is too big of a game to lose.
2 world champions
I think I've got a very good chance of beating him.
This is a massive, massive game.
on one hockey
I mean, beating Phil Taylor's not many people who've done it, is there?
This is the ultimate.
to become the undisputed
It's the 2 world champions, it's going to be great.
This is what darts is all about.
heavyweight of darts.
I'm not going to lose. I'm going to make sure that I win.
Taylor versus Fordham,
Go down in history.
May the best player win.
because this world is not big enough for the both of them.
So, how do we get to MTV? So I then tried to, for several years actually, tried to get into Sky Creative, unsuccessfully, it turned out, for about 3 years, I think it was. And I knew that it wasn't probably going to work out for me when I got down to the final 2 for a junior position, and I lost to the creative director's PA, who had no experience whatsoever, and good luck to her. Yeah, and I just thought, I don't think it's going to happen here. So I started looking elsewhere, and I thought, what am I going to do? And then fortunately, this beautiful man came along with his beautiful hair and sort of weird blondness. I went to Virgin Media for 3 years to their creative team, and it's sort of there where the skills that I'd learned previously are sort of honed into, what you do in a creative department, making 30-second spots and art direction and graphic design and the like. So then I rocked up to MTV in 2009, and this is what it looked like in 2009. And we had shows like The Hills and The Osbournes and Jackass, etc. Then about a year later, I was made the creative director in 2010, and around that time there was a global international rebrand, which kind of changed and moved the logo to this space. We obviously, as you can tell, if you can read, lost the music television and kind of moved to a much sleeker, more modern design. That sort of coincided as well that we actually moved, the main channel of MTV moved up the EPG out of music and into entertainment, and we launched shows like Geordie Shore and more recently X on the Beach, and I think I've heard one little tiny whoop, one minuscule whoop, but I'll claim it. They have been hugely successful for us. Geordie Shore does crazy numbers. So when we came to look at rebranding MTV in 2015, last year, we sort of, and this was led by the international team, but we looked at where we were and where our audience were. And actually we sort of we did realise that we were quite a distance away from each other. Like, this is an artist's impression of the internet and social media. So, but this is kind of where our audience is. And we were in this kind of modern, sort of sleek design, minimal design, and our idents were made by sort of top kind of, worldwide motion graphic companies, etc. And it made us think, basically, that really maybe we'd actually started to behave a bit like some of the other broadcasters. We were doing things at the same durations. Yes, we might have a younger voiceover, but in essence, we were behaving in exactly the same way as everyone else. So when approaching this rebrand, we got to thinking, we wanted to engage with our audience again and give them the sort of room to play with the brand and sort of touch the brand again. We wanted to expose them to new music and new sort of creative artists. We wanted to take the MTV back out of the box and allow people to play with it because it's such an iconic logo, and there's so much fun to be had with it. We wanted to do things in shorter bursts because we had maybe even, you can see it even in that darts thing. It's like, we'll make it 45 seconds long. You're like, well, our audience is really looking at stuff for like 15 seconds tops. And so So shorter, more visual, bite-sized chunks. And we wanted to be, I guess we didn't want to look like anyone else. And potentially where we were, in our sort of more modern, minimal, sleek design, was a bit like some other broadcasters. So we built some new technology, and we did some new things. And I'm going to play a tape to you now, which is 1 minute 30 long. So longer than my 15-second thing that I told you about, but it'd be impossible to do it in 15 seconds. And it will explain a bit about what we did. It's in American, so please forgive that.
When we launched in 1981, MTV redefined what a brand could mean in someone's life. What did our viewers truly want now? They no longer want MTV, they are MTV. We decided to connect the internet to the TV, creating MTV Bump, a groundbreaking responsive web-based platform currently made up of 2 modules. The first tool available at launch, Uploader, allows users to submit their Vines and Instagram videos for on-air play. By using a hashtag, a user's submission can go from the web to on-air almost instantly. The second module, MTV Canvas, is an online toolkit filled with a wide variety of backgrounds, invaders, GIFs, images, and music, which our viewers access can mix and match to build their own animated bumpers. We will continuously launch new tools for our audience that allow them to create content and get it on MTV. MTV has also invited up-and-coming artists to create their own interpretations of the brand. We acknowledge their work on air by crediting their pieces. We handed over the keys of MTV to our audience and helped them turn it by giving them brand new technology to make and share. We amplified their voices and took their content from their feeds to a global broadcast network available in more than 500 million households in more than 160 countries. And while other networks continue to race and catch up and keep up with their viewers, MTV will be rebranding itself every day.
This is so awesome. Yes, it is Justin Bieber. It is so awesome. And so that was really well received. And I think in terms of the ambition of making us feel unique and probably more in touch with our audience, it's done a really good job for us. So I thought it might be interesting just to show a little bit of work as to where we are at the minute. And so these are some campaigns or promo campaigns. So obviously you saw lots of sliced and diced bits of some of the idents and interstitial stuff. These are some promo campaigns that are actually, I think, all currently on air. One might have just come off air. And they give you a sense of the way that we now try to approach some of our work. I think we've kind of, to some degree, moved away as well from necessarily relying on kind of more traditional narrative ways of telling promos, like, okay, what happens in this episode of Geordie Shore? Well, actually, the fans of Geordie Shore like it. They're going to turn up, so just have someone dance around like an idiot for 15 seconds and people will probably like it. So it's much more about like just signposting to our shows. The first thing that I'm going to show is for a network music stunt called Pop Champs, and we do these quarterly across all of our music channels. They do really, really well. We had one, Stars of 2015, last December, and we normally encourage our audience to get involved, and it's Twitter votes, and sometimes their sort of messages are on air, live on air, etc. And it got over 1 billion votes, which is obviously quite a lot of votes. And this is the next one to coincide with the European Football Championships, which are happening soon. And then we have a couple of little Geordie Shore 15-seconders and a 30-seconder for the new launch of this series that started on Tuesday, which has done really well again, and just kind of shows how we always trying to introduce a little bit of fun stuff. So here's that stuff.
You've been voting for your Pop Champs winner over the past 5 weeks, and the results are in.
Shake it, break it, make it bounce.
The winner of MTV Pop Champs 2016 will be announced next Saturday at 12:30 p.m. on MTV Music.
it bounce.
I cannot wait to show these two new boys my dance moves.
Geordie Shore Big Birthday Battle next Tuesday at 10 on MTV.
I've just had the worst nightmare.
It was Jody Shore's 5th birthday series.
And we were made team captains to see who could throw the most wickedest party of all time.
Ricky came back.
Jay was there,
And even Kyle, Dan, James and Sophie were there. And then the whole thing turned to total carnage.
I've got a sweat on.
Relax, it was only a dream.
Geordie Shore Big Birthday Battle starts next Tuesday at 10 on MTV.
Does it look like I want to be told how much of a mug that I am?
Whoa!
She's changed and will want her back. I feel so bad for Holly. I feel like a mug. It's not right.
Brand new Jody Shore, next Tuesday at 10 on MTV.
Yep, so there we have it. Just sort of shareable, stupid little bits of content around our shows. Yeah, so that's good. So what does the future hold for us? Well, we are looking to constantly evolve our look and feel. And I think our learning from where we were previously were that we don't really want to get left behind by our audience. Sort of young people and the world that they're living in is changing so fast that we need to keep up with that, in effect. And so that's important to us, and that we don't necessarily get stuck with one look and feel, that we're constantly reinventing ourselves. We're even, I think on Tuesday, we're looking at doing, we're going to shoot some ads in portrait, which is not something we've ever done before, but actually our audience don't seem to be able to shoot in landscape. So we have basically given up. And it seems as well, we're looking at places where our audience views what we make. And if you look at Facebook Canvas, which is one of the new spaces they have, and Snapchat, obviously, anytime you have a two-shot, like in that Geordie Shore thing, you can't see them, because it's just the middle of the shot. So, we're starting to try and adapt the way that we actually behave, because that's the way our audience is behaving. Now, what I'm going to show you here is not currently on air, but it will be very shortly. And this is a collection, so not a tape necessarily, but a collection of some of the new bumps, inserts, idents, interstitials. They might all just be different words for the same thing. But in effect, little fun bits of interesting stuff that will happen on the channel if you come to the channel. So yeah, these are hot off the press. They involve some cats and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoy that.
Meow, 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 meow.
Did you just say
Herpes.
Reminder. Reminder.
reminder?
Reminder.
Boom, boom, boom. Go.
Say what? So yeah, I mean, that's where we are. That's where we're going. Yeah, we want to stay young. We want to take some risks. We want to have fun. And that's basically it. So thank you very much. That's it.